Hello guys, so in the previous video we changed our template. It was a pretty long video, so apologies for that, but at least now we have this nice template that makes a little bit more sense for our project. So let me just do a git add. I was hiding that from you guys. Git commit, let's say, I want to say changed template to sbadmin2. Admin2 fixes required. So there's a couple of things that I missed, and so I want to just go back and fix them very quick now. So let's close all the tabs here. So one thing I want to fix is the fact that I put some of the custom styles for just specific pages in the base for all the pages. So this is only for anything that uses the data tables, and we don't need to load it every time we open any page. So to do that, I'm going to just put a block here and call it header or head, and just close it here. So end block, and I'm going to cut that out and put it only where I need it. So let's go to our air pollution, and only where we use the table, I'm going to add before the block content, I'm going to add another block here, which is head, end it, and block, and I'm going to add that here. So now, okay, say, let me just check. Yeah, so let's go here and let's refresh, and let's see if the table still works. So for now it's loading. Yes, so it still works, but it doesn't get loaded every time we open any other page. And speaking of static, obviously because we changed the template, we don't need the old assets, for example. These can be deleted. There is the style CSS that we don't need because it's for the old one. Images are new, so I'm going to leave it there. Some JavaScript will go, and the vendor is all new. Okay, so let me delete the assets. So just go and delete, yes. And then in CSS, we don't need style CSS, delete that too. Images are fine, the script here should go, delete, okay. And the vendor is all the new stuff, so I'm gonna leave it there. So there you go. Okay, and now a bit of code that needs to be fixed. So you might have noticed, probably you caught it when I was working on it. In the air pollution view, we were gathering the pollutant names or pollutant list here, and I just got rid of it without thinking what was the purpose of it. And the purpose of it was to use it as a list in charts, so we need to add it here. So right now, if we go to our charts, oops, yeah, okay. So if you go to our charts, we get the this selector here, but we don't get anything here because that's where the pollution list was going. So let's go here and let's add the pollution list. And what it was a list comprehension that was taking the p name for p in pollutant entry, pollutant dot objects dot all. Go away, Siri. I don't need you now. Okay. So, and that's there. Let me refresh and go back and see if we have the pollutants here. Refresh again. We don't get them. Why is that? Charts, pollution, pollutant list, refresh, and we have the pollutants here. Okay. So now we can change between different pollutants and it's gonna work. Cool. Another thing that I forgot about was the active button. So for now, wherever we go, the samples is always highlighted as active. And we want to make sure that if you go to different places, then those buttons get highlighted. Okay, and also there is another problem in it. So if you go and see, okay, here we are grabbing app name and request blah, blah, blah app name, and we do it repetitively, which should always be an indication that we can automate stuff and make this redundant. So to do that, I'm gonna create a new folder here where we're gonna have like a context processor, and I'm gonna call it context or maybe I can just call it miscellaneous if you have any miscellaneous stuff. Okay, and inside here, I'm gonna have my context processors. So new Python file, context py, okay, add it, we can add it here to Git. And now what I want to do is I'm just going to create this very easy function, add page info. Okay, and in here goes request. Sorry about the birds outside. Let me just close the window. Cool. So what we want to do is we want to return a dictionary of context that we want to add to our context every time we load any page. So let's do that. Return, and I'm going to just do this. Go here and add that to it. For now, we need a bit more information there. Let's put that enter there. So that's done. Let me go to Mark's portfolio settings. So in settings, we want to add our new context processor here. So it's templates, options, context processors. In here, we just want to add miscellaneous dot context processors dot add page info goes in here. So every time we load a page, this comes in. And in views, let's go to say tables, table view, and delete the context. All it does, and we do it repetitively, so it's not a good thing. So all it does, it passes this app name here into context. So let's get rid of it for now. Delete this here, and let's see. So we use this app name in our base HTML. So then when we are on our page, this is opened when we are in air pollution app. So let's see, upload works, right? Because we still have in upload this context. But if I go to the table, it's still there because I generate that context using the context processor. Okay, we can get rid of the app name in all of the context generation. So let's go and just make sure that if I go, okay, context, let's find all the context around in here. So this doesn't have it already. Let's go here, app name. We don't need this anymore. As far as I know, we need to just like start context. And then we have, okay, we're gonna look at this as well in a second. I wanna have different way of handling context. Okay, so now we don't have the app name. Let's see in another, so in the website and views, let's just check, okay, we don't need this as well. So my apps is something else. Okay, let's delete this. I suppose we don't need my apps either because we changed the way we approach. I suppose because, oh yeah, now I'm thinking because we had those apps in the database, we might want to generate our navbar using the database, but that's okay. Let's leave it for now. Okay, cool. So now if I refresh here, we should be able to see our context in action on every page. So yeah, it's working. Yeah, cool. So that's done. And now that we are here, I want to check, by the way, what can we get? Because we have one problem here. We have the samples here that is active and these are not active, although I'm clicking on upload. We are in upload page, on upload page, and it's not being highlighted. So I want to check how do we get this full string here, and I can see request is already showing me something. We have to go to resolver match, I assume. Just like we did for app name, or we can just take the path. There you go. So the path is, yeah, cool. So we have the path. So let me just add here, page path, and I want it to be in quotation marks. Page path is going to be request.path. So then on base HTML, we can determine if we're, where is this, what is supposed to be highlighted as active. Okay. So let's go to here, base, and so let's have a look at samples, and I can see here that indeed it has this active thing here. So let's have a look what we have in here. If I go to samples, and let's take this breakpoint here because we don't need it anymore. I'm looking for something that is just like samples. Okay, so let's go here and let's say, hey, if, and I called it page name, page path. So page path. And we want to be smart here. We don't want to just hard code the samples like this, although it will work. Samples like this, and then take that as, okay, and if. Okay, and now if I go to the page, you will see that after refreshing, yes, it is active now, and I'm going to upload, and it's not active anymore. But that's hard coding, and if we want to change the route to samples, then we need to change it in everywhere around. So instead of doing this, we can do something like this. URL for, and that was air, no, sorry, that's not air pollution, that's website samples as samples. And then in here, we can just say samples. Okay. And so we have it together in here. Refresh. Okay, and I can see that sample is not being highlighted, and now it is being highlighted. Okay, so it knows that it's in samples path. And by the way, one more thing, we did this context processor here that is for now just based on request. We do have an access to request. So if I did, instead of page path, I did request.path, that would work as well. Paste. Let's go here. So that's your choice. I like to kind of keep my see active. So it does know that we have an access to request, and we can just check, okay, request path there. And but I like to have my context as a variable, simple variable. So page path. Okay, so let's do the same for all of the items. And it is a little bit different. In here, we added active to nav item. But if we go to, let's say, here, we have upload table charts. This is a collapse item, but it also responds to active. If I put active here and see how it looks when I go to, see, this is highlighted. We can see the different color here, and that's how it shows that it's active. So what we can do here, we can put our URL. And in here, we want to do a line break here. And we need to do exactly the same thing for all of them. Let me just test it before I do, just to make sure I didn't make a boo-boo. Yeah, it's working. So if I go to samples, I'm in samples. If I go to air pollution, I'm in air pollution. And we can make this active as well. So if we go to the item here, I can go here and I can put this here. Okay, let me just copy this, copy and paste, and that should be active. Okay, let me refresh. It doesn't show that it's active here, so maybe it doesn't. Oh no, sorry. So if it is, I want it to be active. Okay, so if I go here, go to air pollution, and this is bold now. Cool. So let's do the same thing here for table and charts. Okay, it seems to be okay. Refresh. And if I go to table, it's highlighted. If I go to charts, it is. So it is working. Cool. If I go to index, none of it is highlighted, which is correct. Okay, another small fix, which was this little thing here. So if you go here, that should be apps probably instead of interface. So let's look for interface and change it to apps. And that's done. Also the footer here, we can just change it to our names. And by the way, this year here, let's do it programmatically. So let's have a look here, see what we can get from the request. Is there a date or something? It doesn't seem like there is any date. So let's add in here from date time, import date time. And you know what? I'm going to do this. Instead of having a lot of different functions here and then add them one by one to settings, I'm going to just do this. Add custom context, add in settings, that's going to be just this. Okay, instead of just adding one by one, if I want to do something, you know, very similar but slightly different category. Date, so today maybe. Let's do this. Date time, today. Okay, and then from this we can extract the year. So let's do that. go to the base and let's go to the footer, which is here, copyright. Let's do it copyright. Marex portfolio, and in here, let's try, I don't even know exactly. So today.year. Let's give it a go. It might not work. So let's try refresh. Here is there. Okay, so it does work that way. So perfect.